Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy.
Feet on the run at White Hart Lane. Paul Allen cleared David Linnigan's header off the line, but there followed, at the end of a scramble, the rarity of a Frank Yallop goal. His first for 4 years, but it was worth waiting for.
Hello again, friends, and you, my friends, and welcome back to, yes, an amazing story with our special guest, Frank Yallop, joining myself, Rich, and Matt. I'll bring them all in very shortly. Thanks once again for joining us. Of course, big weekend coming up. We are live tomorrow from 2:30 for the match day ticket. I hope you can join us for that. But this evening, it is a really special evening with Frank Yallop. We want to hear you guys, really. So get yourselves in the chat sections, get those comments flying in, get those memories of Frank flying in. That hit against Manchester United. I mean, you know, we'll ignore the deflection, because even without the deflection, there's no way Schmeichel's is going to save that. Just throwing that right out there, nice and early. Before I do bring in the hard truth contingent, you smashed the Ko-Fi target last time, absolutely over 100%, way over 100%. So I've set a new target, and it's a really special cause close to my heart. And I just want to quickly mention this, and I'm going to mention it all over the weekend. But between today, the 11th of December, and Sunday evening, any money that you kindly donate to that Ko-Fi account, so any money donated by yourselves, the Great Talking Town virtual bar regulars, will be spent on creating a Christmas shoebox, helping to spread that Christmas cheer and give people something to open at Christmas. It's never easy being homeless, especially at Christmas. But last year, sadly, over 135,000 children spent Christmas homeless. That's just a target and a number I don't ever want to repeat. So this is with a Suffolk-based charity. It's the Homeless Christmas Shoebox Appeal. I've dropped the donation link in the chat. Don't feel obliged. It's a hard time, Christmas, for everybody. But as you smashed that target last time, I just wanted to get something out and just try and spread that Christmas cheer. So without a shadow of a doubt, let's move it on now to this, what we're all here for, the absolute fantastic evening with Frank Yallop. Let's first of all bring in the man who made it all happen. He is, of course, Postman Pat himself. Cruncher, we made it all happen. Welcome in.
Evening.
How you doing?
I can't wait for this.
I know. We've used your lovely boat all over the promotional stuff. There it is. A young Cruncher.
Yeah, red coat. My mum dressed me in a red coat. She's watching, so hello, mother.
The Hayley Cropper coat before it was famous. That one. And of course, every great tag team has a partner. And he is, of course, the media mogul himself, the man with more connections than, I don't know, Donald Trump. I don't know what. about as
Hello.
popular as Donald Trump.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Matt. How are you?
Have you got this shirt, Matt?
You what? Have I got that shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, too small for me now. It's too small for me.
Bit French. The French
Yeah,
platini.
yeah. The laces. Very good.
I've got-
that picture you had taken with Frank, Rich, was at the 1988 Open Day, wasn't it? I was at that.
Yeah, we was just
I
speaking.
remember some kid with big teeth pushed me out the way of the Frank Yallop queue. Wasn't you, was it?
He's grown into his teeth, basically. But I've got a signed one of those from Ian Marshall, which is absolutely lovely, hanging in the wardrobe. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. No need to frame it, but I haven't learned how to do that yet. So obviously we're joined by Frank. Now look, for fans of a certain age, look, and we were around for the glory years, okay? We didn't see the Thunderbolt against United. We didn't see the champions. We didn't see the great teams. So just paint a picture before we bring Frank in of just what that era was all about.
I win 81. I saw the great teams. Just.
But I didn't. I was born in 89, So
No.
tell me about
Well, I mean,
what this
for me,
era meant.
I mean, Rich might have different. I'm slightly older than Rich, aren't I? So he might have slightly different memories. But I remember sort of Frank in that kind of mid to late 80s. And then I started working weekends or Saturdays and Sundays. So the Premier League years, those early Premier League years, I wasn't really around too much. But that's what you remembered most, wasn't it, Rich? The sort of the early Premier League years?
See, mini crunchers in the chat. All right, Archie. So I showed him the goals yesterday. I'm hoping he's going to recreate that tomorrow when he's playing for Sawston. It is funny, Matt, because I was telling you in the week, the first game I went to, March '84, it was Frank's home debut. He'd made his debut on the previous weekend away at Everton. By chance, that was my first game. Watford at home, 0-0. Frank had made his home debut then. So, it's good. It's good times. Late 80s. I know under Duncan it wasn't that great, but then obviously under Lyall it moved on. And obviously we're going to talk to Frank about, he messaged me last night, I was chatting, he said that was his greatest week, the Spurs goal. And
Yeah, two world is.
I can imagine it probably was.
Yeah.
For me, I spent a lot of my childhood recreating these moments in my parents' living room when they were still in bed on a Saturday morning. And me and my brother, we would put this DVD, the video on as it was then, of the season reviews, and we would recreate the goals, and the cushion would be the ball, and the sofa the goal, and all those sorts of things. So looking back, building up to this show, it has been like going through my childhood and remembering those videos.
If you go on YouTube, Martin, there's the match of the day highlights from the Man United game. I think it's about 25 minutes long. I watched it all this afternoon, and Mick Mills was in the studio with Alan Hansen talking about it.
Well, look, I am going to sit back this evening. I'm going to make sure the line works correct. I know Crunchy's got a bit of feedback on there, so I'm going to try and clean that up. But I'm going to sit back with a lovely glass of wine, and I'm just going to soak in you two and Mr. Yallop and just listen to the glory days and listen to a really honest, open chat, and even with Frank Yallop. So without further ado, here is the man himself. Rich and Matt, over to you.
Yes. Hi, Frank.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
We're good, thanks. We're all good. For everyone who's tuning in, tell us where are you at? Where are you at the moment? Where are you living?
Yeah, I live in California. This place called Los Gatos near San Jose. This is kind of south of San Francisco. When I coached in San Jose Earthquakes, when I first started coaching in 01, we really liked the area. And I come back again in 08 to start coaching again with the Earthquakes. And we feel this is our home in the States. So we decided to, let's kind of buy a place and get settled. So, yeah, myself, my wife Karen, and my two boys, Jack and Sam, were just kind of hanging out, chilling out in California. But yeah, it's a nice place, and we feel it's comfortable.
Sounds good. You're not missing these British winters, then?
Not really. It'd be nice to visit though, because I'd like to go back at least once a year, at least once every 18 months, I should say. My wife goes back every year, so it's been a tough time for all of us to try and travel. So as you guys know, it's been difficult, but yeah, I mean, I used to love him. I was watching that Man United goal. It's like I could feel how cold it was that day. It was freezing, and that's why I think I took off I think I was on the post on the defending corner. I think we made a break or whatever, and I ran a little bit to get to that to get to that shot. But yeah, it was. I miss the winters, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, it's been cold in that this week. Snow last week we had here, Frank.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Friday. So anyway, should we get into the chat then, Matt?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'd say the first question I want to ask you, Frank. Born in Watford,
Yes.
then went back to Canada. How did you end up coming back over the Atlantic to Ipswich? What's the story?
Yeah, long story, but I'll try and make it brief as I can. So basically, Bobby Robson, I don't know if you know this, but he was the manager of Vancouver Royals in 1968-69, one of those two, before he got the Ipswich job in 70. I think it was 70-71 he got the job in Ipswich. But basically, he had the team, and he brought over a fellow named Peter Dinsdale, who played for Huddersfield. Peter played for the Whitecaps when Bobby was there for about 6 months. Bobby went back and then obviously got the Ipswich job, and Peter ended up staying in Vancouver. So long story short, I started playing. He coached his son. I used to play against his son and his team. And basically, Bobby had said, if you see anybody worth looking at, in Canada or in Vancouver area, give me a call. We'll if it's worth it, we'll get him out and have a peek. So at 14, I got Peter pulled me and said, "Would you want to go on trial at Ipswich?" I was like, "Yeah, that's for sure." So he arranged that, and so I think it was the Christmas of '78, turning '79. I come over and had a trial at Ipswich. So I got into Heathrow. Charlie Woods picked me up. If I'm not mistaken, I ended up staying at Bobby's house because I was delayed and I don't know what happened, but the hotel was closed. I was going to go stay at the hotel, and Bobby just said, "Well, stay here." I mean, because I went to meet him on the way back at 9 or 10 o'clock or whatever it was, and basically, he said, welcome and all that stuff, and then Charlie had said, "I think the hotel's going to be closed." He goes, "Just stay the night." So I stayed the night with him and his family. I mean, the great Bobby Robson. It's an unbelievable story, really, and ended up going, and I stayed for about 3 weeks. Not at his place. I went to the hotel the next day and went training and that. But I stayed at Ipswich for about 3 weeks over the Christmas period, 2.5 weeks. That was my first trial. And then I got invited back in the summer. So basically, each sort of break I had at school, I could go over to Ipswich and continue my sort of trial period, if you like to say it that way. So I had 3 weeks at that Christmas time. I had 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks in the summer of '79. And then I went back again at the Christmas period. So it's done my third sort of trial. They kept saying, "You're doing okay. You're a little bit behind, but we kind of like you as a player. We see something in you." And then I went over in the summer of '80. And right at the end of it last week, Sir Bobby had to make a decision. And lucky enough, he made a decision to sign me as an apprentice. So, I owe him, obviously, all to him. But yeah, it's kind of a not a weird story, but kind of a out there story. But Bobby, I think he did the same with Mish Davray, if I'm not mistaken. Brought Mish over and had a look at him and ended up signing.
Wow, that's unbelievable. As a kid, having to stay at Bobby Robson's house.
I know, unbelievable. I mean, Charlie Woods, loved Charlie. Picked me up and then said, "We're going to stay at Sir Bobby's." Okay,
Wow. Did you come over on your own? Did you have parents with you or anything?
No, just got the flight. My mum and dad dropped me off. I was, we were living in Canada. So dropped me off at the airport and then, arranged it where Charlie was going to pick me up. And here we are. It's a while ago now. Yeah. Memory's starting to fade a little bit, but I do, the emotions are still there where, it's just like I was scared and, yeah. I don't know where I was going, but obviously the great Ipswich at that time was fantastic.
Yeah. So when you started out, Frank, were you a right back when you were a young child playing football, or
not really? I think as I know, as when you got youth players, you put the better players in positions of sort of value, if that makes sense, centre midfield, up front, or just in the centre of the field. I would think. Anyway, I haven't coached much youth, but. It usually ends up the way that better players get to play in those spots. So, so Bobby right away and between Charlie and Brian Owen was there. They liked my pace. They felt that I wasn't technically good enough to play in the middle of the field at this time at their level. Obviously, UEFA Cup and, second or, whatever in the league. So they're a top club. And at that point, I just said, look, I think we can make you into a right back. I've never played there, but obviously I must have said, okay, what do I need to work on? What do I need to do? And to be honest, they give me out all the stuff to really work on between Charlie, Brian, Bobby Ferguson, and Cyril Lee, I think had maybe just left, and Sir Bobby, that, if you want to play this position, watch George Burley, who's one of the greatest right backs we've ever seen, especially at the club. And watch what he does and how he delivers balls and how he runs and how he does his thing. So I wouldn't say I studied George. It wasn't that creepy for George, but I did study him when he was playing in the first team, obviously, because I wanted to get in the first team. And I think that any young player gets a chance to watch the person in front of you do it and trying to emulate and maybe try and do it a little bit better. But George is one of the best. So right back I kind of got put there in the youth team and enjoyed it, but wasn't an easy position because there's a lot of covering and certain things you got to know that I've never done. So it took a lot of learning, but finally got there in the end.
What was it like being an apprentice back in the day, Frank? That was kind of the old school era, wasn't it? Where you were probably cleaning boots and sweeping up and doing all that kind of thing, right? Yeah,
I still have nightmares about Trevor Curtin, just to let you know. I mean, I ended up being the not the foreman, but I was in charge of the group. So anything that wasn't done, the baths weren't clean, the toilets weren't done, the boots, whatever it was. And Trevor he had one stubby finger, and the rest were fine. He had the one finger missing, and he used to stick it in my ear and the back of my neck if I didn't. Can't do that now, but if I didn't have the job sorted out. So guess what? I made sure the jobs was sorted out and made sure everything was hunky dory and basically make sure that everything was sorted out. But great days. I loved it. We had one story. I got one quick story. Dale Brooks was a youth player when I was there. And for whatever reason, he didn't clean out. There's an orange juice and grapefruit juice machine in the bathroom area of the first team dressing room. And basically didn't clean it out properly. And I didn't know about it. Maybe stayed over the weekend and blah, blah, blah. Probably 3 or 4 days later, I think one of the players, we're talking superstars here, Mariner, Gatesy, Walkie, and all these guys. Someone went to get a drink of orange juice or thing, and there was maggots in it. So, his nickname from that, Bobby Ferguson gave it to him, was Crippen. That's not a bad story. And Brooks, if he's watching, he'll know what I'm talking about.
Did being an apprentice and having to do those jobs, did that make you hungrier to be a pro, to get into the team and to make it as a professional?
I've only known that. So from my side of it, yes. I was excited to just being around to be honest, just being around the players. Now they separate, right? I've been to Chelsea, I've been to Tottenham. It's all separated. You got the first team unit where they go through a different door. Then you have the academy unit. So it's two different things, a way of doing it. So when you're in the academy unit nowadays, you want to be able to go through the other door. When I was an apprentice, it was like I was mixing with all the top guys. And I just wanted to be one of them. And I think that once you feel it, and they're very nice people as well. And, then Paul Mariner, I think hopefully he's doing okay. Walkie, I'm still friends with John. Russell Osmond, still Instagramming and all that stuff. Those guys were really, really good to me. And I felt that I wanted to be part of what they're doing. Not just the soccer side, but just the social side and how, they sort of held themselves. What's that?
I said it's interesting you called it soccer.
Yeah, well, I've been away since '96. I moved to the States to play in Tampa, so it's been a while.
Yeah. What do you remember about your debut at Goodison then, Frank? Was it a bit of a blur?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Trevor Putney, if I'm not mistaken, got me some kippers at 5 a.m. for breakfast because of my debut, messing about. I'll have to remind him on that one. But I think nerves is not a word you'd probably use. It's just like, wow, it's happening now. You've been dreaming your whole life to do this. Don't blow it, So I think I'm sure I was really nervous. I do remember running out at Goodison because we warmed up and the crowd was kind of, because then not everybody's in the stadium at that point. They're on a drink or a pie or whatever they're having. So you don't really see the full effect of a packed Goodison Park. So when I ran out, I was like, wow. I mean, all you can see is faces everywhere. And they're all looking at kind of not me, but everyone on the field. So that was kind of the first thing that really stuck with me, that, this is real. I'm sort of getting after it now. So I never forget, I lined up and he's about to kick off. And I looked sort of down at the halfway line, and it was Graham Sharp and Andy Gray looking to come and jump and, basically, attack me, the young kid. I would guess they would probably say he's making his debut. Let's test him out, whatever. And thank God the ball kind of fell nicely in between the two of them, and I could get a header in. And actually, Bobby Ferguson said to me after, he goes, once you did that, he said, I felt you're going to be okay. And it went pretty well. I think Mountford scored in the fifth minute, set play. But other than that, we did okay, and they ended up winning the league that year. I think Everton did.
Yeah,
they were good back to that Howard Kendall team, weren't they?
Great side.
Very good. Yeah, I didn't think I played against Sheedy in that game. I think it was.
Did you play in the FA Cup game, Frank?
No.
When we drew 2-2, and then we lost 1-0 at home. Do you remember that, Matt? Russell Osman gave a penalty away.
Yeah, I think it did. Trevor Stephen hit the crossbar. I seem to remember that. I don't think I played in the first game, 2-2 away. I played in the home game, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Steve McCall got sent off, didn't he, in the away game? I think we were winning 2-1, and then I think Mountfield equalised probably about 5 minutes from the end.
You got a good memory. It's starting to come back, but I think you're correct with that. Well, you probably are.
on the back of that replay, Frank, I wrote to the FA as like a 10, 11-year-old and said, I can't believe the referee gave a penalty. Unbelievable. They sent me a long letter back.
Did they? Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. At least they replied to you.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Go on, Rich.
Right. So it's a funny thing, Frank, because you made your debut away at Everton, but my first home game was your home debut against Watford. The following Saturday, and I remember it was a 0-0 draw. I think they had John Barnes. I looked through the team. John Barnes. I think that was the year they got to the cup final. I think when they lost 2-0 to Everton, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mo Johnson, I think, was up front too. Yeah, but that's a nice home debut. John Barnes, left wing. I'm playing right back. Thanks. Thank God it was 0-0. Well, I got a little story. I got a little story for you guys. On the Friday morning, we're playing a five-a-side. We did. I think we went through some set plays, and basically it was like we're playing a five-a-side, and back in the day, it was like you couldn't sort of pull out any challenges. So we're playing a five-a-side. The ball breaks to me, and I'm about to shoot. It's only small goals, and one of the best defenders we've ever seen for our club. Terry Butcher's coming out of the pack. I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm thinking I can't pull out of this because, that's what we didn't do that. So I kind of kicked right through the challenge. I got the shot off, and he caught me on the top of my foot, and it swelled pretty bad. So I was like, uh-oh. I didn't say anything. So, I asked the physio, and I didn't say I was injured. There's no way I'm saying that's my home debut. I went out there with one leg. But anyway, but all night it was in the ice bucket, in the hot, in the ice, in the hot. I was just trying to get the swelling down and a little pain down. But I ended up putting a pad on top of my foot in that game as well. And I'm thinking, I'm playing against John Barnes. I'm not half injured. I got a bit of a sore foot, but anyway, I think the adrenaline kicks in and just forget about it and get going. And it went okay. Not to concede a goal against Watford. It was a 0-0. So I guess as defenders always say, and goalkeepers, we did our job.
Yeah, I was reading the programme from that game today, Frank, and it said when you got off the bus the previous week from Everton, Terry Butcher had won a personal stereo as man of the match, and he gave it to you. Can you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah. I will say one thing, between Terry, Walkie, Paul Mariner, they were absolutely fantastic, man. I never forget when I made my England youth debut. I've gone off subject a little bit here, but England youth debut, I'm playing, I think we had a tournament, Yugoslavia, we played, I can't remember what it was. It was away. I got a telegram sitting on my seat as I arrived at the stadium from Paul Mariner.
Wow.
Play your normal game, Frank. Best of luck. All the best, Mariners. I'm thinking, Paul Mariner? And I'm 17 years old, but, I felt a real connection with those guys, to be honest. We did go to, and again, going off subject, sorry, but I went to a concert with, it was me, myself, Walkie, I think, Terry Butcher, Russell Osman. We went to an AC/DC concert down in Wembley.
I was going to say, I know Terry loves his heavy metal.
He loves it. So, and I did, being a Canadian and North American, even if I didn't, I'd have said I'm going with them anyway, if they asked me. But so we went down as I think, I don't know if Walkie went. I think it was me, Oz. It was Russell Oz, Butch, Maras, myself. And then we met Charlie Nicholas in a pub in North London before we went to the concert. So as you can imagine, the concert's going on, and everyone's sort of turning around, looking at us. It's five of us in a row, and I could see people going, "Yeah, I know him. Who's that?" It's one of those. He was the lad on the end. I think I was only 18 or 19 at that point. So, and again, I'm just going back to the niceness of those players to include me in what they were doing, and just even taking the time out to send a telegram to me, who's a nothing player at the club really at that point, to say, all the best. You're an Ipswich Town guy. What you can. I think the family side of it is, which I really, really, really enjoyed, and the one guy we're going to talk about who had that. He's the one who sort of started all that stuff, is Bobby Robson, obviously. So we all learned a lot from him.
I suppose that's one of the things that resonates with a lot of fans of our age, is that it was a really friendly club. The players seemed approachable, and they were really good and won trophies.
I know.
That's kind of what resonates everyone, I think.
It's incredible, yeah. And I think just team spirit and getting everyone to buy into whatever the manager says. I've tried to take what I learned from Bobby and John Lyall was good, and there's a lot of good managers I've worked with. I think Sir Bobby was obviously the greatest and the best, but I didn't have a long time, only 2 years. But what I did know is he had the respect of all the players, respect of everybody at the club, and the fans. And I think that you felt safe in his hands. Like, don't worry about it. I think the year '78 we won the FA Cup, not nearly got relegated, but maybe eighth or eighth from bottom or something like that. And it was almost like, don't worry about it, we've got this. And by the time sort of 80, 81 comes around, one of the best teams in Europe, and we're talking 2 years later, which is on a not a shoestring budget, on an adequate budget, but not a big budget.
Mm-hmm. What was he like day to day for me, Frank? What was he like to be around day to day?
Fantastic. Basically it was just kind of, you felt like it was your dad sort of talking to you, or your granddad, or whatever it was. Just really down to earth. Very true what he said. Great memory. I'll never forget. You remember my parents' names after about 3 or 4 years. I'd 82, and my mum and dad come back to see a game maybe in 84, 85. He was with England, obviously the English manager in the national team. And I was walking through the lobby at Ipswich, and Sir Bobby was there, and he said, he kind of looked, and he looked for a second, he went, Hazel and Peter. And I was like, wow, stuff like that. I think that it's a gift, but he was a kind person, but tough. He wanted to win. And I think that's the thing that we all, and I think the biggest thing I would say about him, he didn't want to let him down as a person. Not trying or giving up or being, pissy if he didn't play. Sorry to use that word. But, I think that that's important. And he really did, every player that ever worked with him, I would probably say the same thing I'm saying. He was a great person, honest and obviously a fantastic coach, but a great person is the first thing you would say.
Mm-hmm. And Bobby Ferguson was a different character, was he, to play under?
Oh, absolutely. I see I see Bobby Ferguson now, and lovely. And he did everything he needed to do to be a great coach, and he was a great coach. And we used to call it, I shouldn't say this, but we used to call it Hangman's Corners. Me, Irvin, Gernon, and there's a few of us in the corner where Bobby Ferguson used to have a go at us. I think he said to us all together, or maybe individually, I can't remember exactly, but it was like, the minute I sort of leave you alone, then I don't care about you. And I kind of went, okay, I can see where you're coming from. He wants me to get better, so he's going to push me. And he pushed me, I'll tell you that. But, Bobby Ferguson gave me my debut and believed in me and played me a lot of games. So, I have a lot to say for Bobby as well. And Charlie Charlie was really good to me, and I still talk to Charlie when I go over. I see Charlie, so I really, really have a great respect for Charlie. He's been, one of the greatest, guys at Ipswich, obviously, but just in the football world, from scouting to coaching to all the stuff that goes into it, he's top class.
Yeah. Go on, Rich. No, he seems to. I think Richard's frozen. I'll continue. I'll continue, Frank.
No problem.
You played with two players I really liked as a youngster, Alan Sunderland and Kevin Wilson. What are your memories of those two?
Wow, yeah, Sunders. What a finisher. Played at Arsenal, obviously, as we know. Great character. He was one of those guys that sort of. And I think probably back in the day, it wasn't taken as serious, the football as it is now. When I say that, when he come to work, he meant business and wanted to score goals. But off the field, he kind of relaxed and did his thing. And I think that what I liked about Alan was he didn't take it too seriously, and he was more relaxed. And he was like, when he come off the bench or he's playing, he wasn't ever nervous. It seemed he just like, I can score goals, no problem. Obviously Wolves and Arsenal, and I thought he was a sniper. What a good player, great guy as well.
Yeah. And what about Kevin Wilson? A good goal scorer.
Yeah, jockey, really good. One of those little snipers. He just feeds off knockdowns and just opportunities. And just drifts around and. You don't see him for maybe 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, there's jockey stabbing one in, or just near post or whatever. And he did his job well for us. I tell you that. I loved playing with him because he's always going to nick a goal. Great lad as well. Both are great people. But I don't have Alan, but definitely jockey's on Instagram and Facebook. So we don't talk. We've probably messaged back and forth a little bit, but basically it's nice to see what he's doing and vice versa.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Are you back, Rick? Are you back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hang on, I'll just plug myself back in. Ciao.
I'll put my glasses on, make sure I'm okay.
I'm
doing all right. Yeah, well, you're a little blurry from. It's sort of I got to be too close, and then I'm back up on getting old.
Frank? What are your memories of that game where we won against Oxford 3-2, but it was Oxford that ended up staying up, wasn't it? An absolute killer blow.
Yeah, was that 86, 87, right?
Yeah, 85, 86, I think it was.
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen.
Did we survive? Did we stay up or did we go down on that one?
We thought we were going to stay up. We beat Oxford 3-2.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
They beat Arsenal 3-0, didn't they?
You reminded me. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, just from being the top of the world, if you like, the old saying goes. And I think did Atco get the winning goal against?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
A free kick, like a free kick, someone pushed in his back. Yeah.
Pitch invasion.
Which was playing. What's that?
It was a pitch invasion.
Yeah, I know. Thought we'd say that. Yeah, I mean, at that point, because of the finances and the stand and the sort of the budget we sort of had, knowing we're going to lose Terry Butcher at some point. I don't think Walkie was all at Liverpool. But disappointing. Bad summer. But I always felt, we're good enough to come straight back up, as a lot of teams do now. They feel comfortable that they can go, drop down and at least get in the playoffs. And I think we lost the next year to Charlton in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's when you had to play the fourth bottom, third bottom in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think Bob Boulder had an absolute blinder at our place. I think we lost 2-1 away. I played in that one, and then we did we lose 1-0 home? 0-0 home. I think it was Bob Boulder had an absolute blinder, and we could have scored 3 or 4. Would have been into the next round of the playoffs. Not to say we went out, but at least we'd have advanced in the next round. But
Paul Cooper saved the penalty, Frank, at home.
Did he? There's a shock.
He was great. What a keeper. What's your memories of Paul Cooper?
Oh, great lad. Yeah, really good. Took care of me. I keep saying that about the older guys, but not the older guys, the senior guys when I was a kid. But really good fellas. They'd invite you out for a pint on a Tuesday, as you used to do. Wednesday was getting too close to game day, so we didn't do that. But we'd go out for some some good social times, and you always felt part of what they're doing. But Paul Cooper, one of the best, if not at that time, keepers in the league for sure. Stature is probably 5'11", maybe.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, unbelievable. For his penalty, I can't remember the season, but it was maybe the 81, 82 season. I think he saved about 7 out of 10 penalties.
He saved 2 in one game against Derby, didn't he?
Unbelievable. You think about that, how hard it is to save a penalty kick. And by the way, with the balloon tango balls, where you could smash it and just go like 80 miles an hour. So unbelievable. Great goalkeeper, great person. And, I thought one of the legends for Ipswich for sure.
He's unlucky not to play for England, but I suppose he had Shilton and Clements at the same time, didn't he? So
you've got
Joe Corrigan just behind them.
Yeah,
exactly. And they're always at successful clubs. I mean, we were as well, but maybe not as well known as the top clubs. And I don't think he got called into a squad. Maybe one squad I think he might have got pulled into. I can't remember, but definitely good enough to play for England, I would think. Back then.
Talking to keepers, Frank, are you still friendly with Craig Forrest, a fellow Canadian?
Well, you're going to laugh at this one. I spoke to him yesterday. I spoke to Craig I spoke to him maybe 4 weeks ago. I maybe spoke for probably, 4 or 5 months before that. We stay in contact, text, how you doing, what's going on, stuff. He's doing good. He's living in Toronto. So, all good things with him. And, good goalkeeper.
Is he a presenter?
What's that?
Is he a presenter now on Canadian TV?
He's not at the moment because the company was with didn't re-up their contract. So he's just kind of in between things right now, just waiting. But he's done a great job with that. He was doing that for years. He's the face of the sort of Premier League, if you like, in Canada.
We'll talk about that Man United 9-0 a little bit later, if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna push the button now.
See you later.
So after we lost in the playoffs, I think Bobby Ferguson, he went then, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
So John Duncan,
he did.
John Duncan come in. What's your memories of him, Frank?
John had a way of playing. At least you knew what he wanted. Again, I don't ever bad with anybody, and I like John Duncan. I'm not sure it suited kind of us at maybe that juncture of kind of playing the way we used to play. It was a little bit more direct. Not to say it was bad or good, but it was more direct. And we had sort of success. I think it wasn't, we weren't, I can't remember exactly, but I think we maybe ended up 14th or so in the championship, they call it now, but Div 2 at that point under John's first year, I think. You could probably look at the stats. I should have actually looked at all the stuff before I come on, but this is all going from memory, just to let you know. But
good.
Yeah, so I like John. I mean, he's a nice fella, and had his way. So he bought some good, decent players. I mean, I think Harbs. I'm trying to think a couple of the signings he had.
Baltachar.
I think David Lowe was a really good one.
Lowe. Yeah,
I think really good one for us. Yeah, I think him and Jockey. Jockey was already there. Already left, I'm not sure. Maybe he replaced David Lowe.
He went to Chelsea, didn't he, Kevin Wilson?
Was that at the end of the season? So Lowe replaced. Okay, I think Hilly had David Hill. So John Duncan got a few guys in that were good players. But just sometimes it just doesn't quite go your way. I mean, we tried our best. I'm not sure we had a great season the first year. I can't really remember. I do remember getting put to centre back, and I was playing right back and left back, and basically got put with Ian Cranston at centre back. So I think we had a ton of injuries. I can't remember the year, 88. I think I ended up winning player. I think I won player of the year at centre back, and I'm thinking I'm only 5'10" and a half. That's not too bad.
87, 88. You were player of the year, Frank.
Yeah.
41 appearances and 2 goals.
You scored a penalty that year, Frank, against Swindon.
I did.
How come you was on pens?
I wasn't, but I ripped the ball out of Romeo's because he was like farting around. He's like, he didn't look confident. I thought, well, I'm not usually forceful like that. I thought, I'm going to grab it and take it. Why not? So, yeah.
What What was Zondervan like? He's a player that obviously everyone remembers because he's got such a memorable name, but not the name that comes up too often these times. But a great servant for town.
Really good player. Really, really good player. I mean, I don't feel sorry for the wrong word. He could have played in the 81, 82. He's just that player. Really, really smart player. Fantastically gifted as knowing the game and clean on the ball as the Dutch players were. When we were sort of growing up, and they still are, obviously. Great guy. Really good person. I haven't spoken to him maybe a couple of years. He's an agent now in Holland, so I did speak to him a little bit when I was at San Jose.
Oh, okay.
And about a few players here and there, just what's available. So, really, really good player, underrated.
70,000 we signed. 70,000 we got him for from West Brom.
West Brom, wasn't it? Yeah.
Unbelievable. I know you think of that. Think of that now.
Yeah.
That's like it's like a night out with I'm not saying.
We've got a question for you here, Frank. Neil Johnson. What are your memories of Sergei Baltachar signing? I remember Frank scoring in the 5-0 win versus Stoke on his debut.
I just about mentioned Sergei with Romeo, but yes, I mean, John courted him and felt that it was funny you said we're going to play with a sweeper, because Sergei was basically out and out sweeper, two markers. He was the sweeper.
Did he ever play sweeper for us, Frank? No. He played right back, didn't he? He played right midfield.
He played right midfield, right back, centre back, which he probably wasn't physically used to the English game. As we know, it was pretty physical back then. Yeah, he never played his position. And we can go back to that, but I forget what position he played when I was a right back. I think it was in front of me. I think it was right midfield. You're right. Yeah, he scored Stoke, and I ended up scoring. I think against Foxy, left footer bender, far post. It was. See, the thing is, I always score the goals that don't really matter. It was I think it was a fifth goal in that game.
I had Lee Dixon was playing, and Steve Bold played for Stoke in that team.
Yeah, that's not bad then. I'll take that one.
Exactly. Who was the manager? Mick Mills. You've told me that before, haven't you? Was it Mick Mills, the manager?
I think it might have been Millsy. It could have been. Yeah. And I think Peter Fox is in goal. Who's not the top end, but a good goalkeeper in our division. But
it was so exciting.
Sergei was a great player. We had a fantastic trip to Kiev. Was
that pre-season?
Yes.
Was that the following pre-season? Yeah.
Correct. So the deal, I think it was a bit of a deal they did. Look, if we sign Sergei, we'll go over in pre-season, blah blah blah. So we ended up doing that. We landed in Moscow, and we got an overnight train to Kiev. So that was a fun time with all the lads, on the bus. Kind of a great experience. I've obviously never been to Ukraine or Russia or anywhere over there, so pretty exciting. Played some good games. Played against Kiev. Played a couple of friendlies before we actually played the big game. But I can't remember the scores. It doesn't really matter. But it was pre-season, and Sergei was part of that, obviously. And I mean, you can tell he's a very, very good player and very smart. And,
Why do you think it didn't work out for town for Sergei? Because I think 20 odd games, didn't he?
Yeah, I think positionally. I mean, it's like asking a right winger to go play left back. It doesn't fit, right? Good players can play anywhere, which he could do. I mean, he played right midfield in front of me, and I'm thinking he's a good player, but he's he's one of the top players in the Russian national team. He played in World Cup and European Championship or whatever. As a sweeper, and he knew that position inside out.
Was it communication? Did he speak the language? Or was
he learned it pretty quick. He had some broken English to obviously start with and a few words, but he's a smart man. Another guy I've not lately, but been in contact with and chatted to here and there. Unfortunately, I think when his daughter died, it was sad. So I got in contact with him then, and we chatted for a little bit. So really nice fella, talented player, really. Yeah, it was a fun day, that 5-1.
I can remember that game really clearly, Frank.
I probably got blamed for the one goal that they scored, but that's okay. I'm used to it.
It was really exciting because it was almost like he was from another planet. This sort of first Soviet player to play in England, and it was almost like everyone was counting down to that Saturday.
If you go on YouTube, Matt, if you go on YouTube, there's a video from Anglia News when he signed. I think I think it was a Lada from the club. It was either a Lada or a Skoda.
That's exactly right. Yes, he got sponsored Lada. I think he might have handed it back. He didn't want it.
I see you broke through around this time, Frank. Is one of my all-time favourite players, Dalian Atkinson.
Oh,
what a player he was. I mean, what are your memories?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, talk about a talent, and a real fun guy. Sad obviously his passing and all that stuff. But we had some laughs, to be honest. I mean, never forget the time. What was it? Where were we? I think it was me and Doz, maybe Chrissy K, having a drink out in. I'm not going to say what day it was. It was Tuesday. It was sticking with Tuesdays.
Yeah.
In Hunt's Wine Bar, up pulls a red sports car, and a guy gets out of it with a red track. The guy is obviously Dalian, full red tracksuit, and he's sitting on the bonnet of his car, like chatting to somebody. I'm thinking, what's he doing? What's he doing? It's one of those, but that was Dalian, just, in a good way, just expressed himself. Great guy. And I tell you what, I mean, what a talent. If he's playing now, people are going, wow, who's this? I mean, he's so powerful. They talk about the lad at Wolves. I'm trying to think of his name now.
Traore.
Yes. I mean, Dalian was just, he scored a hat-trick against Middlesbrough, against Pallister and Bruce, and not Bruce, Pallister and Mowbray. Yeah, exactly. I think Mish got the other one, but I think we won 4-0 at home, absolutely pulverized those guys. I mean, scored all kinds of goals, just, dribbling them and long range and just really.
Should have played for England, shouldn't he? He should have played for England with that talent.
I think so. Yeah, it's just, maybe couldn't put it all together in certain tactical stuff, but talk about off the cuff, real talent. And when he got the ball, unbelievable. And another guy that come through the system. How about that? So we didn't talk about that, but we produced some players at Ipswich. Tell you that. Rich,
do you want to go next?
We Middlesbrough won the league that year, didn't they, Frank? When we beat them 4-0.
Yeah, they got.
Was that 88, wasn't it, Matt? I think because Pallister went to Man United. Was it the next season? I think he actually. I remember that game.
We've seen that.
The first 2 goals. You probably played in that game, didn't you, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember them first 2 goals. He's cut in. I think the first time he's cut in from the left, smashed it in the top corner. And the second goal, it was on the run, and he just lashed it in, didn't he? But I was watching actually today. It was from the first season when we were in the Premier League. It's when we played Villa in the League Cup away, and he played up front, Dalian, with Dean Saunders. I think that season they were really good together.
Unbelievable. Yeah, two great strikers right there. Yeah, he was a good lad as well. But what a handful. Even in training, it was just like, he was a beast. Just so strong and powerful, fast. But he could, to finish off with the shooting ability he had as well. It didn't always go on target though. Some of them are still, I think they're still bouncing down the high street. Some of his shots, but great memories of him, obviously, and a shame what happened, but anyway.
Yeah, I think Walkie's back at Ipswich by now, Frank, late 80s.
Yep, Johnny Wall, legend. Yeah.
But was he a different player in that second spell than from the first spell? No, he's been at Liverpool and scored a lot of goals there, and he's played in European Cup finals and come back. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, age catches up with you, right? So, and John will be the first to say. But talk about, you're talking about a centre. He did start as a centre back, though. You do know that, right?
I think he made his debut, didn't he? In against Leeds in the FA Cup in '75 in the replay, and he played centre back that day.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I wasn't born then.
But
you were, Frank.
I was 11. That's not good. Started as centre back. So he knew the position when he come back to Ipswich. But if you think about it, we're just talking about positions. You think about it, he started as a centre back, trained his whole time. All of a sudden, they put him in a centre midfield, and look at the career he had. So talk about changing positions and figuring it out. I mean, he scored 37 goals in one season, as you guys know, in the 81, 82.
He was a holding midfielder. That season, when he got 30-odd goals, he was a holding midfielder. Now you think, what would he be worth? In today's game, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he just talk about eye for a goal. I mean, but his finishing, you guys know from the games you watch, but just in training, if he's doing a finishing session, it's just like, wow, he never misses the target. And when he's trying to put it, say, in the top corner, that corner, or a header or whatever, he got it there. So that's, it's a talent. And, he practiced a lot, but, he got given that talent and he used it very well. But, Walkie, when he come back, was basically really experienced, loved Ipswich. As we all say, it's our club. And I thought he was outstanding for us. Talk about a leader, he's a quiet leader, doesn't maybe say tons of stuff as, a Roy Keane yelling and that, but when he looked at you, you just saw, oh, geez, he's not happy with me. He was disappointed in me. And it made you play harder and really respect what he's done in the game, but he's coming back to help us kind of get out of that division, which he did.
That was the second spell, because he came back, didn't he? Did he come back for one season and then he went to Middlesbrough, didn't he?
He went to Middlesbrough. I don't know. You have to ask him about this, but maybe it's contract stuff. I don't know. I think he only signed a 1 year, and maybe Middlesbrough, maybe felt more attractive or whatever. But the good thing is we got him back after a year. I think it was only a year at Middlesbrough.
So he came back the season that we won the league. I think he came back. Tony Humes broke his arm, didn't he? And I think Walkie. See, look, Matt, I don't know how I remember all these things because I was about, 15 then. I remember he broke his arm and Walkie I think he was just training at the club, wasn't he? He hadn't signed.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. He was just training and all of a sudden he signed him and then, off we go.
Off we go again. Yeah.
That
title-winning team, of course, Frank, was managed by John Lyall. They had a fairly quiet, I think he finished about 14th in his first season, but what did he bring? He was so ensconced with West Ham, wasn't he? It was a new thing for him to come to Portman Road, but great success again, took us to the Premier League. Very
good manager, very good coach, Mick McGivern, his right-hand man. Just a nice fella, stern and tough, but which they all have that. You got to have that in your makeup to be, where you're at, and especially in England. Tactically very smart, and what was good about John and Sir Bobby would probably say the same is he can pick a team, just a combination of players and figuring out where they should play. I mean, we played with basically two small forwards and Chris Kay and Paul Goddard. No real target man. But Steve Whitten was our target man, wide right. So and Tomo was wide left back. So
diagonal, long diagonal.
Tomo could kick the ball from here to Hull. By the way, I mean he could hit an 80-yarder, not a problem. So another good player, by the way. But so he just he figured it out, and good coach, motivator, good guy, and did really well. I thought really, really well. And myself, we kind of got. It's not word; it wouldn't be punished, but we were in qualifying for Canada with World Cup, so we weren't. There wasn't a window back then, so it'd be like we're playing against El Salvador, and we're missing games for the club. So the hard part was to choose. Obviously, it's just my club, and they're paying me, and everything's great, and I love it. But your country's calling, and we're trying to make a World Cup. So, thank God they've changed it to the windows now, where there's no choice; you have to go. But back then, myself and Craig, because I didn't play many games in the game in the year we went up. I can't remember
17.
How many?
17. Because I think you started off with a season, didn't you? And then did Nick Stockwell play? He played right back, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, it was two things. Either I played terrible, which was quite often at times. No, when Mickey got in, or I was away on international duty. Mickey played, and the team's going well. And as it's when a team's top of the table and flying. There needs to be something catastrophic to happen to change that. And Mickey Soccer, I mean, again, another great player, great servant, really, really good player. You're versatile. Playing in my spot, I'm not going, hey, he's not very good. He's a good player. And it was just frustrating for myself and Craig going in and out, and then not kind of. I didn't feel I contributed to maybe that season as much as I wanted to. I think Craig got back in the team as between him and Clive. I think think Clive Baker. I think
He was the season after Clive Baker when we got to the Premier League.
what's that?
He was the season after Clive Baker when we got promoted.
Okay, yeah, it was.
Because Craig got sent off, didn't he, against Sheffield United?
He did. I'm trying to think who the backup is. Wasn't Peterson? I'm thinking. God.
I'm going to consult the book here, Frank.
Yeah,
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll find out.
Because Phil Parks came in the season before, I think, didn't he?
He did, and then wasn't there long-haired, black-haired? Oh my!
Andy Patterson.
No, Andy Patterson was there. Jeez.
You consult in the book.
Ron was it Ron?
Ron Fearon, he played under Duncan, didn't he?
He did. Okay, it wasn't him then. Okay, wasn't him. That's what I was thinking about. Okay. I think
1991 is Phil Parks.
Parks, yeah, okay. And then Craig was in front of him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, two good lads there.
Well,
yeah,
we were talking about Walkie being able to play any position. Mickey Stockwell was kind of that kind of player as well, wasn't he, Frank? He could play all over.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, he could play anywhere.
Played striker.
The consummate pro, was he?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, when you know football, it's just, depends on your upbringing and if you've played a bunch of positions. But, to play at that level in different spots. Steve Nichols, the other guy that I know very well because I coached against him over here in the States. Stevie Nichols was the same. I think he played every spot other than goalkeeper. And Mickey was the same. He'd find his way into the team, the little twerp.
He's a painter and decorator now in Essex and Suffolk, I think.
Is he?
He's kitchen fitter.
Kitchen, correct. Yes, I saw him maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago a game. Yeah, and he was telling me he's doing that. So, it's good lads, all those guys. I speak to Milts quite a bit, Simon Milton. You guys know him really well too. But, all those guys. It was fun times.
It's funny you were talking about captains earlier because we were debating this on our Sunday show. What makes a good captain? And like Rich was saying, is the day of like your Roy Keane, balling people out. Is that now gone? And do you now lead by example as a player now? What do you think, Frank? What do you look for?
Yeah, I think I think your captain now has to be a guy that's a leader. Without saying anything. Whatever he does, it's like, well, he tries his best. If he doesn't play well, he owns up to it. Stuff like that. I think you got to have in your makeup because gone are the days of slaughtering people and getting away from the fact that you give the goal away. Do you know what I mean? That's gone now. Yeah. And, accountability's there. Well, when I first sort of started playing, and especially in the youth team, but even in the first team, there was no video. So you couldn't go back. It was just a blame game. He didn't pick him up and he met him run. And he's like, well, let's watch the video. There was nothing. So it started coming into the game and now it's analyzed, through the roof. So you can't get away with anything. So I think, and most captains, I think, have to have the lead by example. Quietly one of the guys that the players really respect and listen to. And I think the Roy Keane type sort of captains are not so much on the field because playing wise, because Roy Keane was talking about lead by example. But I think the verbals have gone out of it now.
What was David Linnigan like as a captain?
I like Linny. Yeah, he was. It was good. Pretty straightforward. He's from Hartlepool. I think he's born in Hartlepool in that area. But so they don't mess around when they tell you something. But he'd let it go. They tell you, hey, get tighter or do this or do that, and fair enough. And he was a tough character, good guy. Really good teammate. Took care of you on and off the field, and he was a good leader. And I thought he played. He was probably not quite at that, and he'll probably be the same to maybe say it, not quite at the top level. He had his brother at Arsenal, Andy. And I thought David was a good player though, and did really well when I played with him and for the club.
Well, let's go to the 2 goals we started the show off with, Frank, because I know time's ticking away from us a little bit and we wanted to get on with your day. But
we'll have to have you on again, Frank, to talk about your management because we ain't going to have time tonight. We've got so much to fit in.
Yeah, no problem. I'm open. This is a nice time. We started at 12:30. It's 1:30. You guys are already drinking. I'm going to wait a few hours.
You probably want to get a sandwich. But your 2 goals in a week. I mean, the Spurs goal. Which was your favourite out of the 2? The Spurs and the Man United goal. Which was your favourite?
Well, because it was at home, in front of your fans and your family, and it ended up the winning goal. That was pretty special. I mean, both of them, because I didn't score that many. I scored 2 headers, which is, if I ask any of the players, they called me turtleneck, I think. Scared of getting there. Yeah. Scored 2 headers. Darlington, I think, at home in a cup, and Leicester at home, 4-1 win. Again, I think I scored the 4th. Didn't matter. But
we had Adam Tanner on. And I messaged him the other day, and he said you're a very funny guy, because he scored in that game, didn't he? That was his debut.
He did, yeah. Adam's great lad. Oh, it was good times with him. He was funny too. Yeah, we had some, the characters. I don't know. I'm not in the dressing room, but even sort of mixing with the younger generation now, it's kind of not as sort of I shouldn't say the word fun, but as much Mickey taking. Let's put it that way.
Different camaraderie, I suppose now.
Camaraderie, good word. But again, it's different eras, but it's all good. But I think that the Tottenham goal, it was a weird one because I was sort of supposed to be in front of. If they leave someone up, someone's behind, I'm in front in case it pops out and I got to cross it. And I was kind of looking. If you look at the goal, I'm standing like a soldier at flipping, the Buckingham Palace. It's just kind of standing there and it's bouncing around. I'm thinking. And I didn't really advance until it popped out, and then I jumped onto it. And I think it was Paul Allen coming out of the pack, and I'm thinking, back in the day, you could stick your studs up and really go through someone. And I'm shooting, so I'm going, go. So I try to hit it and jump a little bit, and I think that's what it gave a bit of topspin, and it ended up dipping and obviously hitting the crossbar and the post and in. But I think it gave me that little bit of sort of leverage to get it up and down and obviously beat Torsted. I think it's Torsted. Yeah. He didn't have a chance with that one.
Hell of a hit. Did you used to practice that in training, or was this just kind of out of the blue thing? Yeah,
we do shooting. Obviously the forwards work on finishing more than the defenders do. We'd have a few long-range shooting sort of exercise, and I can ping a ball pretty good. But shooting's a different type thing, especially from distance. So. I think it was a bit of a fluky one, but I kind of think it didn't get deflected that much, the Man United one. It was kind of deflected. Yeah. I remember it just going in the net, and I didn't care what happened. But that was special because it was at home. After that, I don't think I bought a drink in a pub for a while. That was good. So that was good. Yeah. The fans at Ipswich were fantastic to us, and and anytime I go back now and see anybody that's obviously an Ipswich fan, or it's long ago, which is always difficult, 30 odd years ago, but it still resonates with me, and we sort of bring back memories. If we speak about the goals or whatever about Ipswich, it feels good, and it's always nice to have those memories.
We got a question from Leighton Durrant here, Frank. He says, "What was your favourite season at Town?" His was that 91-92 season, but what was your favourite personal season at Portman Road?
I mean, that was great for the club, And again, I think we just mentioned I didn't play a lot, so as a player,
why didn't you play much that season, Frank? Because you only played 6 games.
Yeah, what was it? 90? Yeah, I think. Well, the lack of form, not playing. Mickey's playing great. International duty. I don't exactly remember. But the team was great, and sometimes it's just the way it goes. And are you talking about when I scored the goals, or the time we went up?
No, 92-93, the first when you got them 2 goals. You only played 6 games. 6 games that season, 7 the following season, and then the relegation season 94-95. You played 41.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, well, I think it was a little bit of both of the, like I said before, the. Not getting it, the international stuff, and Mickey playing great and staying in there. We had Eddie Yowles as well, I think, playing. So, sometimes you just, not in favour or for whatever reason, but you don't give up and you keep going and all that stuff. So, yeah, it wasn't a lot of games. I was getting frustrated myself. I think at that point I might have had a chance of going to Sunderland. I think George was maybe up there. I can't remember exactly the years, but there was a couple of maybe a chances of moving on, but I didn't want to move on. I wanted to stay at Ipswich, and in the end, I played like 41 times in that season. We got relegated, but that was a fun year to do that. But again, you just got to keep plowing on if you're not playing. And when you get your chance, I scored 2 goals in 6 games. That ain't bad.
We've got a question from Nick here. What was the favourite kit you played in? Was it the one with the white sleeves? The Spurs game?
I'd say that's one that stands out with the white sleeves and the blue and the. Well, you're wearing it, Gov. Yeah, so yeah.
You took the laces out, didn't you? You never had the laces in.
We used to cut them out because they used to flap about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cut them out. So yeah, we shouldn't tell. Don't tell the kit sponsor that. But yeah, we cut them out. I think it was Umbro. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's Umbro. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Before we let you go, Frank, we'll let you get on with your day. We really appreciate your time. Absolutely fantastic chatting to you. Tell all the town fans what you're up to at the moment.
Well, actually, now I'm in between projects, if you like. So I've been coaching basically ever since I finished playing in '98. I played at Tampa, and I started coaching, and then I've managed, I should say. I'm the manager. So basically, right now we're just starting up a new team in Monterey Carmel area. It's a new USL Championship, which is 1 division down from MLS, which is Major League Soccer. We're going to start playing because of COVID. We got put back a year. We were going to be starting in 2021, but got put back to 22. So right now I'm just in between. I'm still employed by them. So I'm just basically, I'm not a stadium builder, but I'm the only one sort of employed by the company right now. So I'm basically working with the architects and stuff like that. So we're just building a stadium or renovating an older stadium. And then I'll start to put the team together in August time, June, July, August, start to get ready for March of 2022, where we're starting the 2nd division in the States. And I'll be director of soccer and the manager, which means the head coach.
Yeah. And we've got a question here from one of our guys on Facebook. Did you ever fancy managing Ipswich? Did Mr. Sheepshanks ever get on the phone to you?
He did. Yeah, I spoke to David, I think it was 2003, after I left Earthquakes the first time, and we chatted. I think I was one of 5 he was talking to at that point. But David felt that not being in the country and not sort of, being sort of up to speed with everything, that it wasn't maybe quite the fit. But I did say, if you're not sort of buying any players, I don't need to know. I just need to get on what you have. Yeah. And I feel that's what I'm very good at that. I feel, not boasting, but that's what I'm pretty good at, where just figure out what we have. Again, like a John Lyall and the Bob Robson, where they figure out what they got, put a good team together and add to it as you go along, but figure out what's best than what you have. So I kind of said that, but it didn't work out. Shame. I'd love to have had a chance to manage Ipswich, and I'm going to keep dreaming. Maybe one day I can do that.
Yeah, we're gonna dream for you, Frank. We'd love to see you. Fantastic.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll call it a day there. Should let Frank get on with his day. Middle of the day there, isn't it, in California?
Yeah, we have. If you like, Frank, we'll have you on again, and we can.
No problem at all.
An hour's not long enough.
Super easy. Yeah. What time are you at now? It's 20 to 2 here. So, yeah, no problem. I'd love to come on. I've really enjoyed myself, though. Thanks for having me on. And
excellent.
Hi to all the fans. And hopefully we can win tomorrow and you've got to move up the division. We've got to get back up. We've got to get back in the championship.
Yeah, you got it, Frank. Well, we're just like, on behalf of everyone, all the Talking Town community, we have a great community that tune in every week. We'd like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, and hopefully we can speak to you again in 2021.
Yeah, definitely we'll do that. Yeah. Merry Christmas. They've got the tree behind me. All sorted. So, yeah.
Frank's going to get his trunks on now. Jump in the pool.
I'm going to go for a jog with my shirt off. Well, not that. With chubbies.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy.
Feet on the run at White Hart Lane. Paul Allen cleared David Linigan's header off the line, but there followed, at the end of a scramble, the rarity of a Frank Yallop goal. His first for 4 years, but it was worth waiting for.